enforcement systems, and also to create social change to end sexual violence. So we are focused very much on support for survivors who've experienced trauma, but we are also very committed to community change, community education, and really collaborating with community partners to promote positive change to reduce the prevalence of sexual trauma in our community.
Okay, before getting into particulars, what should people keep in mind about the issue of sexual trauma and how to prevent it?
Sure. So the first thing I want to acknowledge is that I know this can be a difficult topic. So it can be very uncomfortable, even for people who don't have a direct experience with it. So we are aware of this, but we also know that this is something that even if it's not talked about very openly, that it impacts everybody. So we are aware of this, but we also it impacts people of all genders, classes, ethnicities, ages. It really does. So amongst all sectors of society. And so what we want to first do is acknowledge that it is something that occurs at epidemic levels, even if it's not talked about in that way. And so in order to really address the issue, what we look at, because a lot of times when we talk about prevention, people think about, well, how do I prevent my child from being victimized, or how do I prevent victimization overall? And so we target messages and we target conversations in this context of, who are the victims and how can we prevent people from being victims? But one of the things we as an agency want to do is start promoting conversation and discussion about, who is perpetrating this type of violence and how can we prevent that perpetration. To not just prevent one individual from being victimized, but to actually reduce the overall prevalence of the violence and decrease those number of instances overall. So the way that we think about doing that is by looking to make consent and respect for personal and sexual boundaries normal. To say that that is normal and that is expected and anything else is unacceptable. And so the other thing the way that we want to start doing that is by helping empower people to make conversations about consent